believe that our earliest placental mammal ancestors began flourishing within 400,000 years of dinosaur extinction about 65.5 million years ago. But snakes, basically as we know them today, were around 100 million years ago. They had about 20 million years of alone time eating placental mammals before predatory birds joined the party, and had another 2 million years before the first carnivorous mammals evolved. Snakes had been eating every iteration of our evolving ancestors for millions of years. So by the time Homo sapiens evolved and developed language, we were talking about our oldest archenemy: snakes. In what's considered the oldest known great piece of literature, Mesopotamia's Epic of Gilgamesh, Gilgamesh's immortality is stolen by a snake. A snake makes him mortal. The Abrahamic origin story says that a serpent convinced Eve to eat forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil by promising that her eyes would be opened. She and Adam were subsequently banished from an immortal paradise, but the mortal threat of snakes might have literally helped our eyes. The snake detection hypothesis suggests that visual systems of primates evolved to detect dangerous animals, primarily venomous snakes. In The Fruit, the Tree, and the Serpent, anthropologist Lynn Isbell explains the hypothesis like this. Snakes evolved to be difficult to see and mortally dangerous. They coil their camouflaged bodies and remain motionless until they attack. Surviving the peril of snakes for millions of years required selective pressure favoring primates' specialized visual systems. And compared to other mammals, the pulvinar region of the brain, which helps visually detect relevant objects, is disproportionately large in primates and humans. Studies from different international labs have detailed the ability of humans' enhanced visual relay system to recognize snakes. And this sight is pre-conscious. Blind sight, which lets even those with cortical blindness respond to visual stimuli without knowingly perceiving it, allows us to detect snakes and react without being consciously aware of them. Basically, we can notice and react to a snake without having to think, "There is a snake, I'd better watch out." Or like explorer Percy Fawcett wrote about dodging the attack of a bushmaster, "I had not seen it until it flashed between my legs. But the inner man, if I can call it that, not only saw it in time, but judged its striking height and distance exactly, and issued commands to the body accordingly." Fawcett's inner man was confirmed by a 1993 study on conditioned electrodermal responses to masked fear-relevant stimuli. Not very catchy. Consistent with the hypothesis, the lemurs of Madagascar, an early branch of primates living on an isolated island off the coast of Africa with no venomous snakes, do not fear snakes and have poor vision. Armed with the vision to detect them, we quickly learn to fear snakes. Ophidiophobia, or a fear of snakes, is one of the most common and intense phobias in the world. In The Dragons of Eden, Carl Sagan notes dream studies in which almost half of the people surveyed reported dreams about snakes. And while modern psychologist studies show neither human infants nor monkeys raised in captivity inherently fear snakes, studies of fear association showed both are prepared to learn. Lab monkeys showing no initial fear response were conditioned to fear live as well as toy snakes after viewing videos of wild monkeys demonstrating a fear response to snakes. Researchers were unable to condition the monkeys to fear non-threatening stimuli like flowers or toy rabbits. We notice and fear snakes as part of a co-evolution arms race for survival that eventually led us to telling legendary stories of our origins amongst serpents. Skeptics of the snake detection hypothesis would like to see more data, like studies done with primates reacting not to just snakes, but to other primate predators like leopards and eagles. And in any case, dragons don't just look like snakes. Dragons have legs, they can fly, and they have a mouth full of ferocious sharp teeth. Dragons are more like a snake mixed with a leopard and an eagle. The three predators monkeys are screaming about. When anthropologist David Jones studied howler monkeys, he noticed they use three distinct alarm signals that lead to specific instinctive safety actions. One call alerts the group to a snake, and they stand up on their hind legs to look at the ground and then climb to safety in the tops of trees. Another call identifies a hunting bird or raptor, and monkeys abandon the trees, hit the ground, and take cover in bushes. Finally, a call for a leopard or large carnivoran causes them to run into the trees and out onto the thinnest branches that can't support heavier meat-eating mammals. In an instinct for dragons, Jones writes that the dragon is a composite creature of the three major predators of primates: serpent, carnivore, and raptor. He believes combining them into one monster is a natural indexing mechanism performed by the brain to consolidate a message. That message is to recognize, beware, and honor what Georges Micargue called in her 1968 book, The Beasts of Never, the oldest, the first, and the most basic monster. Micargue was right. The Epic of Gilgamesh not only mentions dragons, but features the demigod Humbaba, whose dragon-like characteristics included the head of a lion, the claws of a vulture, a body covered in thorny scales, and a tail that ended in a snake's head. Also, a phallus that ended in a snake's head. Phallus means wiener. Conquering or harnessing the power of this symbol of nature's chaos granted the hero the power to create order. Chinese emperors are said to be descended from dragons and adorned their kingdoms with dragon imagery. In the East, civilizations were created with the blessing of dragons. In the West, civilizations drew power from tales of defeating them. But something weird happened to dragons in Western culture over the last 100 years. These manifestations of evil that needed to be vanquished to secure our future became friends with our future. Dragons became playmates for children. The Reluctant Dragon, written by Kenneth Grahame in 1898, was the first popular Western story in which a dragon is a sympathetic character. It tells the tale of a bookworm child who befriends and defends a peaceful, poetry-loving dragon from the stubborn, ideological local villagers who believe all dragons must be destroyed as tradition demands. The valiant dragon slayer of legend, St. George, is summoned to kill the dragon, but the child successfully convinces the knight to spare his harmless friend. To appease the bloodthirsty villagers, they stage a fake battle in which George innocently pierces a fold of skin on the dragon's neck. George then parades the dragon through town and declares he is no longer a threat. The knight, the child, and the dragon walk away peacefully, hand in hand, into the night. Peter Green wrote in a 1959 biography of Kenneth Grahame that he grew up in the countryside of Berkshire during a time so simple, kids entertained themselves by playing games like Push the Heavy Log. As an adult, Grahame was reluctantly forced into banking in the booming city of London after being unable to afford his dream of going to Oxford University. At the height of uncontrolled development of manufacturing during the Industrial Revolution, the whimsy and serenity of Grahame's rural youth contrasted starkly with the rigid responsibilities of banking in polluted urban 19th century London. The Reluctant Dragon represents the inner turmoil Grahame felt between his creative, artistic self, the dragon, and his dutiful banker self, embodied by the fabled dragon slayer, St. George. In the end, the knight, the child, and the dragon make peace with one another at a time when Grahame reconciled with his own inner struggle between being an artist and being a prominent member of the establishment. The first friendly dragon story is a negotiation between the rigid control of modern humanity and the anarchist entropy of nature, brokered by the precocious innocence of adolescence. The dawn of modern science and human advancement required a compromise between our past and our future. We became friends with an enemy we had fought for time immemorial. An enemy who represents time immemorial. The Ouroboros, a serpent or dragon eating its own tail, symbolizes the infinite cycle of nature, creation from destruction, a fundamental truth recorded by the earliest civilizations. Life and death eternal. Today, we don't need dragons. Not like we used to. The millions-year war is over and we're still here. Living and breathing the fire of curiosity and courage. Instinctively exploring the deepest, darkest depths of the unknown. And overcoming the impossibly powerful enemy guarding the most valuable treasure imaginable. Using our minds to detect problems and invent ways to conquer challenges. It's how we evolve. But into what? Philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche warned, "He who fights too long against dragons becomes a dragon himself." Devoid of the monsters that strengthen us for this moment, we're left with the power to decide. Am I the knight? Am I the child? Or am I the dragon? And as always, thanks for watching.
Don't you know?
Take the altars and put an end to the Gravekeeper. You cannot die. Well, I still have need of you, that is.
You are no longer welcome here, Raven Lord.
Vsauce! Kevin here, on planet Smars, simulated Mars, an eerie and otherworldly corner of the world located on the barren slopes of the Mauna Loa volcano in Hawaii.
Not be your last.
Is that all?
I got friends on the other side. Of course.
Your enemy has destroyed a keep. A tower has been lost.
When done,
Well done. Keep destroyed. My hold on this realm tightens. It is nearly time. believe that keep was yours. Our tower has fallen. Keep destroyed. The tower is mine, as it should be. The altars are rising, heroes. Do get ready. Keep eliminated. Another tower under my dominion. The time is now, heroes. Claim the altars in my name. Just dodging.
You are no longer welcome here, Raven Lord.
You have lost a keep. The Grave Keeper claims another tower. I believe that keep was yours. We have lost a tower. Has destroyed a keep. We have lost a tower. The Great Keeper controls the towers. Take one back and end his bombardment. Well done. Keep destroyed. Tower acquired. Once more, the altars rise from the depths. Keep eliminated. Impressive,
Keep up the
heroes.
fight.
Lay claim to the altars. Do not disappoint me. Keep destroyed.
You will fall, Raven Lord. This is the way of the Nexus.
This tower shall serve the Lord. I will not let go of my domain so easily.
MVP.